Broadcasting
We
live.
are live.
Back in the studio for another episode of Tight Ass Tuesdays.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is, I think, the most excited I've ever been for a Tight Ass Tuesday, Mr. Frank.
Something different, something new, I think. And I think people that are watching this are going to get a lot of value because it's something besides property, finance, property. It's something, I guess, with yourself, which is very interesting. And I guess when you start to learn about this and how to improve as a human being, I think you're going to get a lot of value from our special guest that's coming on tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm excited. I reckon he's in the, yeah, there he is. I can see his face. He's in the broadcast room. Before he jumps on, I did promise him that he can witness our mindset minute. So let me just wait for a few people to jump on board. Just want to make sure that everything is now live. Yep, we are live. I just want to, and this is for Sam. He's not in the room yet, but I believe he's watching. I think he is. Yeah, I think he is. Mindset minute. So before we kick off with Mr. Sam, and I'm going to let him introduce himself, I wanted to tick off a little mindset minute, one which actually reminds me of the great man himself and something that Sam has actually taught me, how to grasp this. So this is in referral to Sam, I guess. So this one's from the Buddha, the great Buddha. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burnt. So for those of you who know, for those of you who don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't, Frank and I are part of the movement, the Empowered Man, which is essentially focused on men, generally men who run their own businesses and are struggling with either health, wealth, or relationships. So this quote right here, why I raised this quote and why this is our mindset minute is because this was me. I used to hold on to a lot of anger. I used to hold on to a lot of thoughts. I used to hold on to a lot of crap. And really, it doesn't serve you in any way, shape, or form. It does not serve you. Learning, and Sam will touch on this when he jumps on, but learning how to control that anger, learning how to control your thoughts, learning how to control your actions, reactions, all of that is, the reason I think, Frank, you and I, why we're in the position we're in today, but even from a point of just how happy we are. You can't take the smile off our face now. You really can't. You're smiling now. You really can't take the smile off our face. We've become, personally, I can talk for myself, what I've done in the last 3 months. I've grown more in the last 3 months than what I have my last 25 years. And that's not to say that I was doing it wrong. It's just I wasn't aware of now, I guess, my awareness, the fact that we have the power to control our thoughts, to control our actions, to control everything that we have. So a little bit of a slide in. So Sam can come in. I'm sure he'll do a much better job at explaining all of that. If you want to touch on anything, Frank, before we let the great man in.
No, I think we'll let him in.
All right.
I think we'll let him in. He's waiting. We'll let the beast in so he can. It's his time to shine.
Absolutely. All right, let me jump him on board. Sam.
There he is.
Hello. Hey.
I'm going to move you to the main screen because you are the main man today. Wow. Welcome, Sam. How are you, brother?
How are we?
I'm great, guys. I'm excited for tonight. I feel like I'm in the room with the masters themselves, so I can't wait to chat all things mindset. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a good episode, Sam. I think people are going to get a lot of takeaways just because I guess we're not aware of our surroundings and, and how to handle things when emotion pops up or stress or anxiety. And I think today will be something very special for the audience to reveal and how to, fight that or, I guess, challenge those disbeliefs. So I think it's something that will, definitely impact. And it's a little bit different to what we normally do, talking about property and investing and all sorts of things.
Boring old property. This is fun stuff.
I think this is going to be, really, because it's going to I think a few people will relate to this. So, which doesn't matter if you're a boy or girl, doesn't matter. I think everyone will relate and go through the same things. We're all human beings. So,
For sure.
I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's I guess kind of introduce yourself, Sam, of who you are, what you do, what you're doing for yourself at the moment, so people just get an understanding who you are and so they get a little bit familiar with you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm Sam. I live in Adelaide, South Australia, and I'm in my almost mid-30s. And what do I do? Well, I'm a mindset coach and client success manager with the Empowered Man, and have been with the Empowered Man for nearly 5 years. On the side of that, I also run my own coaching business. I work with men and women in a business called Reclaim Tribe, about reclaiming your confidence and stepping into your power. And as well as that, I'm a pastor. I'm married to Holly. We've been married for 10 years, and we've got a little 3-year-old son, Luca, who keeps us on our toes. You might even get to hear him in the background tonight as well.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Awesome.
That's
I
me.
love it. And you want to touch on, Sam, because this is what I found interesting. I actually was going, you might blush, but we were actually looking at your old photos last night, funny enough. And I had I'd never seen it. And I went, no way, that's not Sam. So do you want to touch on a little bit about your story, how you've come to this path, and where, I guess where you are or where you were?
Yeah, 100% love to. And cut me off if I'm talking too long.
Talk as long as you want, mate. Talk as long as you like.
Well, look, I grew up in an amazing family. Like I've got amazing parents. I've got an amazing sister, and it was just an amazing childhood. And me kind of slotting into that, everything with me looked great on the exterior because I knew how to smile.
Yep.
I was always smiling, keeping it together, but internally, I hated who I was. I genuinely hated who I was. I was the fat kid at school. I was bullied, from the time I started school, when you're 5 or 6, I was bullied right through to finishing year 12. Told that I wasn't good enough. I had a nickname of the 6th wonder of the world. And now I think that's a huge compliment. But at the time, I'm like, oh, wow, that must be pretty big. And, I was told that I wasn't good enough, and told by a peer when I was in year 10 that my life would never amount to anything, that I was never going to be anybody. And so all that people were doing on the external was reinforcing what I believed about myself internally. And so I thought, well, it must be true. And so it was around year 10 of school, nearly 20 years ago, that I resolved to just live a small and insignificant life in the background, just blending in, just live a safe life. Never thought I'd be doing anything like this. And that all stemmed from just feeling like I had no purpose, that there was no point to my life. I never felt like anyone understood who I was or what was going on inside of me. I mean, I didn't even really understand a lot of what was going on inside of me. And, I lost weight eventually. I've lost about 36 kilos and kept it off. And, I thought that would be the catalyst for me to start loving who I was. But it didn't change the stories going on in my head. It didn't change the desire to just live small, safe, and insignificant in the background. And truly, it wasn't till about 5 years ago when I joined the Empowered Man, which at the time was called Tony Body, and we were a fat loss company. That was what we did back then. And I joined as a client and went through, I'd gone through losing weight, putting on weight, feeling terrible about myself, losing weight, feeling great, putting it back on, feeling terrible about myself over many, many years. And it wasn't until I joined Tony Body and now the Empowered Man that I was actually able and felt safe to pull back the rug and go, there's stuff here to be dealt with. And it's not that I have to deal with it, but it's the frame of, I get to deal with this stuff. I get to unpack this stuff. I get to move through it to take my life to the next level. And that was what really fostered that lasting change. You know, fast forward to now, you know, yes, I've had an amazing weight loss transformation, but that's just the external, the mindset shift, the confidence that I feel, game changing. You know, for me, one of the biggest catalysts for change was that I can love who I am today on the way to who I'm becoming. I don't have to wait until I'm, you know, built or, you know, lean or whatever, but whatever shape, size, hair color, whatever, I can love who I am right now on the way to who I'm becoming as I invest in myself. And that's what really shifted the internal narrative, changing my pain into power. And now, as a result of that, my prime focus in life is helping others to step into that freedom, you know, their power, their purpose, finding their voice. And, you know, as cliche as it might sound, you know, just getting better and better each and every day. You know, the 1% better each and every day, continuing to do the reps to invest in ourselves, getting better and better. And for me, that's just out of genuine love for others, because I love people. I'm obsessed with helping people. I love it. That was one of my greatest downfalls many years ago, because I loved it. I got, you know, just carried away with, I've got to help everyone. I've got to fix everyone. But I can't fix anybody. But now I get to lead people on a journey where they can truly take responsibility for their lives, like I have and continue to do each and every day, because it's not a once off, it's a daily thing that we get to live.
For sure. And I can double down on that you have more care in your body, and you know, it's not just you speaking, that you genuinely care. It's half the reason why I've stuck around. I'm sure it's half the reason why Frank has stuck around at the Empowered Man.
Wow.
It's half the reason why we invite people to the movement, because you know, like I just said at the start, you know, I've never been this aware of myself. I've never been this aware of my thoughts.
Amazing.
I've never been this aware of, you know, the power that we have as human beings. So amazing. I want to dive deep though. I want to dive deep today, because I want to talk around why. I mean, you take care of men and women. Okay, so this does not just have to be something which the Empowered Man focuses on, just men. Let's kind of talk about everyone in the world, but let's try to zone it down to people in Australia. Why do you feel that everyone has that negative thought in their head? Why are we never good enough? Why are we not why is there always something more for us to do? We're never content, for a lot of us, until we start actually looking and diving in deeper and understanding.
It's a great question. I think it's this, we all have an internal narrative. We've all got a story that we're telling ourselves. And often, you know, I love the imagery that comes kind of in the coaching space of, you know, looking at our map and our model of the world. You know, we've all got a way that we see the world, and it's formed through those formative years. You guys hear me talk about it all the time, those formative years between, you know, 0 and 7 years old, when we're observing and we're watching. I look at my son do that now. He looks and you know, you look and you see how people navigate conflict, and you see, you know, the definition of being enough, and you see what success looks like, and you see, you know, all of these different things, you know, being being worked out through others. And we go, okay, well, that's just how I deal with anger, you know. And if you grow up seeing someone lash out every time they get angry, you'll learn how to do that. When you become more aware, you might, you know, I always say you'll either repeat the behavior you've seen to the T, or you'll do the exact opposite, depending on your level of awareness and, you know, what's kind of happened. But I think this model of the world, the stories in our mind, for a lot of us, and for myself reflecting back, we're not taught or shown that we can question what we believe, what we have seen. And so we go about life living reactive to circumstance, reactive to the stories in our mind, reactive to what all of this stuff that happens around us. And we think that we just have to live, almost as a slave to what's going on around me, as a slave to, fear or whatever. Well, that's just the card I've been dealt. And there's many people in our world that live in safety, and when you talk about comfort zone, live in that safe zone, because isn't that just what we all do?
For sure.
And then we gain awareness and we go, well, maybe there's another way. Maybe we start asking right questions. I think it's Tony Robbins that says the quality of your questions determines the quality of your life. Mm. And so if you're willing to ask those uncomfortable questions to get out of the negative downward spiral or the negative loop in your mind, that gives you power to step out, power to change things and shift the dynamic.
Amazing.
It's kind of like you touched on before. I think it's a little golden nugget, when you turn that pain into pleasure, because if you don't look at that pain, the pain will make you shift. For some people, it doesn't. Sometimes they might sit in that pain, but once you turn that pain into power, like what you've done, that becomes your anchor, you could say. And that's what you know how to, I guess, take advantage of and keep improving, keep going. I think that's how we all kind of went through that same path as well, and that's what made us all change. And I guess since you've been coached, I guess, what do you see most people kind of suffering with? Is it the anxiety, the stress? What is it? What are the main things that they've been struggling with?
I think, a lot of challenges in men and women have many different appearances. It might be stress or depression, anxiety, relationship breakdown, lack of purpose, direction, whatever it may be, the external challenge, which often comes from an internal place. But when we dig really deep, 90% of the clients that I've worked with and through the Empowered Man, I couldn't even tell you how many clients we've had that we've worked with, but I would say 90% of the time, it all comes down to this internal lack of self-love, lack of self-acceptance, lack of self-awareness, and the inability to be content and love and accept the version of ourselves that we are. And therefore, as a result, not being 100% happy with our life. Therefore, sabotaging our results. Therefore, creating stories and seeing something and going, it's this when it's actually that. And entering deeper and deeper into those significant internal narratives that don't serve us, that don't move us forward, but keep us kind of imprisoned in our own mind. And I think it's all, it all kind of stems back to this idea of self-love.
For sure. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Sam, because I know that you're absolutely capable. But I want to really leave the viewers with some value here, which I'm sure they've already gotten value. But just touching on exactly what you spoke about then, that self-love. And I know you could go on for hours here talking. This has been put into a course, which the Empowered Man is. But 2 to 3 quick little things on what someone can go out and maybe implement tomorrow, or maybe over a course of time. I'll let you run with it. But 2 or 3 quick little things that you do potentially yourself, or that you've taught to get that self-love, to remind yourself. What anything.
I think it's all got to start with getting to the truth. The truth of where you are right now is the foundation for change. How do you implement lasting change if you're not willing to start where you are right now? And getting to the truth is often, there's a level of pain and discomfort there, because often the truth is, the undealt with truth is often something we've been covering up or holding back on for a long time. So getting to the truth, implementing a powerful routine that's going to allow you to be consistent. When you have consistency in your life, when you've got that certainty, which is one of the core needs of humanity, when you've got that certainty there, it feels good. It feels really, really good to have that certainty. So what was the first one I said?
I told you could go on for an hour. I love it.
Go on. Getting to the truth. Getting to the truth,
absolutely.
having some form of, consistency, routine, and then investing, being really willing to invest in yourself.
For sure.
I think I invest in myself. I have a coach. I've had a coach. I work with the Empowered Man. There's so much value there for me, and it continues to change me and shape me and form me as I coach through our content, and as I watch, our head coach Tony, as I work with him, and I'm coached by him. It's life-giving and life-changing, but I still invest in my own coaching, and I never see the end in sight in terms of that. I think there's always a need to adopt this growth mindset, and part of having a growth mindset is investing in yourself. And being willing to learn and being willing to grow and take things from here to here, doing the work each and every day. It's probably a few more than 3 in there, but you get the idea. There's plenty of things that I could say.
We could go on forever. You touched on the fact that you still use a coach. And as you said it, I thought to myself, shit, I don't know if I could ever be without a coach now. I mean, having someone that it doesn't hold me accountable, or having, if I'm just going to tell the viewers, the Empowered Man, every morning we either get, a video from yourself or Tony, just something. And it's the first thing you do. You look at a video and it's just positivity. That there shapes my day, something like that. I mean, will I ever be able to walk away from the Empowered Man? I'm not sure. But in coaching, in coaching in general, I think I will always, for the rest of my life, be with a coach that betters me every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day. And I think it's super, super important. 1% every single day over a year.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And I think part of it is you pay and employ a coach to ask you some of the questions that a lot of people aren't necessarily willing to ask themselves, or don't have the awareness to ask themselves. I had a call with my coach yesterday, and he's asking me these questions, and I'm going, oh, thought I'd dealt with that. Okay. All right. And it's like, well, this is what I pay for. What I say to my clients is, you don't pay me to rock you and keep you safe. You pay me to ask you the questions that are going to take you from here to here. And yes, there's pain involved in that. And I want someone to be continually doing that for me.
For sure.
All the time. And so I think it's really, really valuable.
For sure.
For sure. I think it's when I look kind of back at where I was when I started, for me, I had to ask those questions. And I remember I couldn't read at the time. So I picked up a book, and I lost my job. I was miserable at that time. And it took me probably 2 months to read this book. I was reading hours a day. And I was using Google Translate because I was illiterate, had short-term memory. But that book I read was by David Goggins, and you probably know who he is in the Navy SEAL. But the questions he asked in that book, for me, it was very, very scary. I had to face that. And that's when I had to get over that fear. That pain was killing me too much, but I had to get over that fear. And I think it's amazing what you said, the questions. I think those questions, we don't like to sit with them. And when we do ask them, that's for me, I changed my life. Within, 2 years, I've learned more than what I've learned in my entire life. For being on this planet I've been on the planet for 28 years. For, 26 years, I didn't learn nothing compared to what I've learned in the last 2 years, just from, asking questions and getting coaches, investing in myself. And it's amazing what the mind can do. People think, I guess, you know, you got to be someone special, born for God-given talent. But like yourself, you were overweight and you got bullied a lot. And at those times, if you go back in those times, you probably couldn't see your purpose. You couldn't see what you're good at. And like now, you can see it. You know, you're helping people, and that's what you'd love to do. But if we go back in those times, you know, like, it's so difficult. How can people kind of bring awareness to that, or what can they do? Like, I know you touched on those points. Is there something they can do to get help, I guess, with getting coaching and stuff like that? But is there something by themselves? Because when you're in those moments, it doesn't matter, you know, what you got, you know, or who you got around you. It's you. You know, you can have you got the best phone, you got the best computer, you got the best board brand, or, you know, and NBN. But at the end of the day, it's you. So what's something that people can, you know, do or ask themselves to get out of those, you know, tough, difficult times?
Yeah. Well, going on along this line of, you know, asking good questions, I think it's really asking the first question of, you know, what would I like my life to look like? Like, what specifically do I want my life to look like? You know, it's this idea of having a vision for your life. And if your vision is greater than your current pain, then that's your first step, identifying the vision, identifying the goal. Then you can start to put things in place, you know, roadmaps to get towards that goal, to move towards it. You know, I'm all about vision. I'm all about being really clear on where I'm headed and you know, why I'm going that way. And so that's a really, really simple tool. You know, whenever I start working with someone or talking with someone, it just seems to come up in conversation, and they're like, oh, I've never thought about coaching, or I've never thought about investing in myself in that way, and I'm going through this at the moment. And I'm like, what would it look like for you to take your life to the next level? It's basically asking, what's the vision for your life? You know, what would that look like for you? So it's getting really clear on what you want, the outcome. Then you can start to put some things in place. But I think, like, if you're in a space, like if you're watching this and you're in a space where, you know, you're not in the right, you know, the season of life to invest in coaching or to have a mentor or whatever it is, work with what you've got.
For sure.
Google powerful questions. Google them. Start asking yourself some questions. Start writing some things down in a journal. Get on YouTube. You know, look up people who are doing the self-help, the personal development stuff, and just start learning. There's so much gold out there. Just start where you are with what you have and do well with that.
You can really have a mentor. I mean, I have hundreds of mentors. They wouldn't know who the hell I am, but on YouTube, I can pick them up and I watch them every single day for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. Very powerful. I want to again, I'm just going back to the viewer because I want the viewer for maximum value to get out of this. The biggest thing that I've taken away, I mean, I've taken away hundreds and hundreds of things from being an empowered man, from talking to you on a weekly/daily basis. But one of the biggest things that I think, and you'll probably agree with, is the morning routines and the importance of a morning routine and the rituals throughout the day. So I don't know if you can give away the secret sauce. I'm not sure. But as a bit of an overview for everyone watching, just, I guess, if you want to kind of break it down, maybe of what you even do, maybe what you teach, maybe of what you want to do. If you can't give away the sauce, throw out something for the viewers.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll tell you what I do. I'll tell you what I do. I've been doing this for a long time, and I love it. Because I think if we can start taking action in the morning, you win the morning, you win the day. My friend wrote a book about that. Win the morning, win the day. I wake up at the same time, which is 5 a.m.
Good man.
Never thought I'd ever do that, but I love it. I live for it now. I don't want to waste a moment. Like, I love living life. So I wake up at 5, and, you know, if you're watching this as well and you want some personal development resources, look up the 5-second rule from Mel Robbins. Amazing. And I lay in bed, my alarm goes off, and more often than not, I'm like, I really don't really want to get up now. And I'm like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before my brain starts to think of all the excuses and reasons why I shouldn't get up, and I get up. Challenging at the start, but it's powerful. Then I go and sit in my lounge room and I invest in myself with some meditation, some prayer. You know, I change it up as well. Then I breathe. I do some simple breath work, sometimes some square breathing, sometimes some more intense breathing. And then I go and work out. I go to the gym. And then after the gym, I have a cold shower.
Right.
And they're cold. But
in Adelaide, they're cold.
But in terms of mental focus and clarity, if I'm feeling a bit cloudy or a bit, you know, in a funk, that cold shower will get me out of it straight away, shift my perspective. It'll change my state. But immunity, all sorts of things. You know, Google like ice baths, cold showers and stuff. They're the 5 things that I do every morning.
Amazing.
And I love it. It's not time consuming. It's not rocket science, but it's powerful when you've got a simple yet effective routine.
For sure. Your non-negotiables, something that you make it and you do it every single day. It's amazing how much that helps during your day. You know, you can wake up and if you don't do them, like sometimes there's been days I haven't done my morning routine and straight away you can feel that anxiety or stress if something happens, someone says the wrong thing to you, and you can straight away feel it and you're going to say something and you're thinking straight away and you're getting all triggered. But when I do those routines, how much of a difference my perspective is, and when I sit down, I just stop and I'll question it, or I might just be calm and centered. It's just amazing what it does and the power it has. But going back with you used to work with a lot of kids or youths. Back in with what you're seeing in today's society, what do you see wrong, I guess, with, you know, youth and I guess family upbringing and society?
Yeah, look, I think we're living in really, I say we're living in really challenging days, but I don't think it's ever not been with every generation. Do you know what I mean? There's always been more layers added on to pressure and kids and families and all sorts of things, you know, right throughout history. And so I think, yes, we're living in challenging days. However, it's always a challenging time. But I think what I see, you know, I've been working with youth for, you know, almost 20 years. There's a lot of heavier topics that kids are now being faced with at a much earlier age than they used to. I worked in a primary school about 13 years ago, and there was a year 5 student who was starting to have body image stuff going on, that she's like, oh, you know, I'm to this or to that. And I'm thinking, wow, that's so young, can't believe it. Now you're starting to hear that stuff with 6 and 7-year-olds. Do you know what I mean? Starting to, and all sorts of other things that they're being faced with earlier. I think, you know, with kids these days, there's a greater, more drastic level of peer pressure. You know, many years ago, it was confined to, you know, if you were being bullied or, you know, peer pressured, it was kind of confined to that, you know, 8:30 to 3:30, Monday to Friday sort of time when you're in the schoolyard. And now with social media and phones and, you know, technology, Snapchat and all that sort of stuff, for a lot of youth, it's kind of inescapable. And it's kind of around the clock, 24/7. There's all of these pressures, you know, and the stories that are heartbreaking that I hear, that come across my desk of young people in schools attempting suicide because it just got too much. Because, you know, these phones, while they're amazing and they do so much for us, they can be, you know, filled with some of the most detrimental stuff for young people. There's social media pressures. There's this scrolling mentality, and then the comparison, you know, my life should look like this, when on social media you put out there what you want the world to see, and it's only a very, very slight representation. So there's social anxiety. There's, you know, a lot of pressure in that space because communication is now not solely, but majority of communication is taught to be through a screen. And so we've lost the art of being able to sit down face to face and have a conversation. I know people that have come to see me or I've approached them for a conversation, young people, and how's everything going? Like, you know, safe space is a great relationship there and great dynamic, and yeah, good, all good, everything's great. And then they'll go home and they'll send me a text and say, actually, this is what's going on, because there's such a lack of ability to have those face-to-face conversations. Yeah, it's quite sad. It's quite sad. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of pressures on kids in our society and families, how to navigate certain things that they've never had to deal with before. Yeah, there's lots we could talk about there.
How lucky your boy is that he has you to show him how to communicate. You'd have to be up there with the best communicators and the best person I've ever met with your words. How lucky to have a man like that around him. I mean, it's still scary. You still got to tell me it can't. It's still scary that, you know, it's inevitable that he is going to go down the route of where there will be people around him that, you know, suffer with depression, that suffer with, you know, these technologies taking over. It's scary, but I think if I was a betting man, I'd say that he's in very, very good hands, I think, with you.
I appreciate that, brother. And you know, we're very, you know, he's 3 and he communicates very, very well, and he uses a lot of big words and says a lot of things that we're like, okay, we know where he got that from. That's us. And but it's amazing. We're teaching him. You know, we lay in bed with him each night and we talk through, you know, what are we thankful for today? Just really simple language that we build upon. What are we thankful for? You know, when someone gives you something, you look them in the eye and you say, thank you. You know, do you know what I mean? Like the simple stuff that as he grows, you layer, you add more, and you teach children to be effective communicators.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm conscious of time, Sam.
Yeah.
Because this could go on for 3.5 hours. So I want to kind of digress. I want to start moving it down and let you spend some time with your partner. I want to touch on one more thing. Well, I want to touch on a few more things, but I want to kind of start moving down the route of finishing up. The empowered man, and obviously with a lot of the work that you've done in the past, a hell of a lot has got to do with relationships. You know, saving marriages, or you've told me many stories where you've spoken with, you know, a couple and they're struggling in their relationship, or they're married last year and then this year the honeymoon's over and then they're going, you know, down a bad route. Where is it that you see people really getting it wrong? And on top of that, how long is it actually taking yourself to get it right? Because from the sounds of it, you know, you've got an amazing relationship, and it's something that I aspire to have. I think it's definitely something that Frank aspires to have. But where is it that you actually see people getting it wrong, and so often?
I think, you know, I don't even know if I would call it, you know, getting it wrong. It's, you know, we're all, like, if we really zoom out, we're all doing the best we can with what we have, and it comes down to those tools that we've learned. You know, we walk around life wearing this metaphorical tool belt. You know, I'm all about metaphors. This metaphorical tool belt, and you know, through our, you know, 0 to 7 and all sorts of challenges and experiences, we're grabbing tools along the way and going, okay, that's what I used to navigate that. That's what I used to navigate that. Oh, suppress emotion. Okay, cool. When a challenge comes, that's what I'll use. And we have all of these tools. And with doing the best with what we have, we're using these tools, but we find that they're sabotaging our success and they're taking us further away from what we want. And becoming, you know, my wife and I, we've been married 10 years, and, you know, we don't get it right.
Yeah.
We don't get it right all the time, and we're human. But, you know, our ability to zoom out and go, well, what's the outcome we're actually going for here?
Yeah.
How long do we need to go around the same mountain before we get off this train and start to implement some change that's going to serve us and move us forward? How can we look for the lesson in this? So I think a lot of it is around creating awareness. Because if you've got tools in your tool belt, you're not really going to question it. They're there. You've got tools there. If you start using them and they're getting you away from what you want, it's easy to go, well, that person's not responding to what I'm putting out there.
Sure.
When we take responsibility for our own actions, our own reactions, our thoughts, all of that stuff, we can start to go, okay, maybe these tools, maybe there's a better way. You know, I think it's Albert Einstein, that says insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. This time it's going to be different. I'm going to keep using this same tool, but this time it's going to be different. 99% of the time it's not. And so creating awareness, we get to lay down those tools and learn new ones. And so I think where people get it wrong or become ineffective is not having awareness of our own actions and how they affect others.
For sure.
Because it's easy to blame. It's easy to go, well, you made me feel that way and you're not meeting my needs and you're not doing this and you're not doing that. But even if we took 1% of responsibility in every scenario, in every situation, that gives us a level of power to start taking action. Does that make sense? Like it's this idea that, well, maybe we're not getting it completely wrong, but maybe there's a better way for us. Maybe there's an opportunity here. You know, we frame it well. Maybe there's an opportunity here for us to unlearn some of those things that are actually detrimental to our success in a relationship. And maybe we could actually pick this up. Maybe we could invest in ourselves. Maybe we could, you know, see a relationship coach or a counselor or whatever it is, and start having those conversations so that we can move forward. You know, it's so easy, and where so many couples that, you know, I've worked with in the past become ineffective is when they get so comfortable and they stop trying. They stop working, stop wooing each other. Do you know what I mean? They just seek to live comfortable and in safety.
Easy conversations, hard life. Hard conversations, easy life. I've got it actually.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
Printed on that wall there. So that's very true.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing value. I love it.
I guess with relationships, so I guess as well, there's always something that can trigger that. And I guess there's what you kind of teach and talk about is the three kind of areas that we want to focus on. And just for the viewers to understand, I guess those three areas make a massive impact, you know, of our life and our awareness. And sometimes that can contribute to arguments and fights because of other things that are happening around our surroundings in those three different types of areas. Do you want to kind of explain and let the viewers know about these, you know, what to work on and, you know, the three main focuses?
Yeah, so our three main focuses are health, wealth, and relationships. So it's all about creating awareness around where we're at in our health, you know, in terms of, you know, everything from mental health, physical health, you know, nutritional health, you know, mind, all of that. You know, your body is your mind, your mind's your body. If your mind's out of whack, your body's out of whack, and vice versa. So taking responsibility and creating awareness around where we're at in our health. And then with our wealth, that's not just finance, it's not just money, but it's time. It's our resources that we've got available to us. And so it's creating awareness, you know, well, how am I doing with money? What's my relationship with money? What's my relationship with time? How do I spend my time? Am I procrastinating or am I taking action? You know, how am I utilizing those resources? And then relationships, you know, relationship with self, relationship with others, and, you know, really, you know, empowered men, we're really about empowering men in all these three areas, but specifically in relationships, to start having the conversations that, even if you've been married 20 years and have never had a conversation on this level, that you can actually have these conversations and start to clear the slate, start to own your stuff, and take the road that needs to be taken to move forward. So health, wealth, and relationships. Three really, really key areas.
Amazing. All right, it's getting late. I want to ask you one more One more thing, Sam. I'm sorry. I'm taking
Yeah,
up
go
every
for
minute
it.
of your time.
No. I'm here. I'm with you. It's all good.
I know you would. I know you would. You would not leave. No, in a good way. I'm saying you would not leave. You want to talk as much as we want to talk.
Yeah.
One last question for you, Sam. So where to from here? You know, obviously you're living a life, you know, you can see in your face, you're a happy, happy, happy man. You've got a beautiful family. What success look like from you to the end of your life? I don't know if it's something you've thought about. I'm sure it is, but what is it from here? Where is it that you want to go?
I love this question. Success, we talked about this the other day. Success can be seen as so one-dimensional, so much, success is just business. Success is just, have I met the KPIs? Have I brought in enough money? All of that. But success is so much bigger. Success for me is really about living a life in service to others. When I get to the end of my life, if I can look back and know that I truly made a difference in the lives of others, then that's success for me. Truly. In the here and now, success for me is about taking responsibility. So if I can work with someone and encourage them to start taking responsibility for the things going on in their life, and they do, that's success for me. Success is about being committed to growth, never getting so satisfied that I stop learning, stop growing, stop working through challenges. Success for me is about leading well, loving well, and just faithfully showing up for others. This revelation that I have of, living a life in service of others. It's about, because I genuinely love people and I genuinely want to make a difference in their lives. And if they can get a level of transformation in their own life, that's game changing. That's game changing for them, for their partner, for their family, for their children, and for the generations to come. If they're willing to do the work and draw the line in the sand, that change goes far beyond just them.
Absolutely.
And so I look at it as almost changing a generational line. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? I'm paying the price now. I'm doing the work now, so that on the same level, my kids and my grandkids and their kids don't have to pay the same level of price, if that makes sense. And I'd all kind of wrap that up in success.
For sure. Which is an amazing thought process around success. Like that, you're in this world to change people's lives. You're in this world to save marriages. You're in this world to let men and women know that they are worth it. I'm speaking for ourselves. It's what you've done for me. And you're in this world to bring up a beautiful boy and a beautiful family. That's pure success. And to look good as well, not 150 kilos like you once were. You're looking amazing. No, seriously.
Thank you, brother.
Every aspect is, tick, tick, tick from the outside in. I'm even sure the inside out. You feel that every day. So that's amazing. That's amazing. You, Frank, have you got anything more to pester this man? We can get this going till 12 o'clock at night if you like.
I want to say one last thing, I guess. Okay, if you went back and you could tell yourself, your teenage years, you could tell yourself one thing, what would it be?
Oh, nice one.
Yeah. So there's a quote by Marianne Williamson. She's a writer, and I've read it on Empowered Man Coach Calls many times, and it's this big long thing. But there's one phrase that she says in it, and it's, "Your playing small does not serve the world." And so back in those years when I was, just live small, safe, insignificant life in the background, that doesn't serve the world. I've known for many, many years that I want to help people. That's always been my heart. I can't ever remember not being like that, but I just thought I couldn't. So I'd play small. So if I want to live a life in service to others, my playing small does not serve the world. Doesn't serve others. So that's really, if I could go back and tell my teenage self or my younger self that, then but then see, bad person to ask this question to, because I'm like, yeah, but all the experiences you've had because of the pain you experience, and but that's what I'd tell myself.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. Sam, you've done exactly what we thought was going to happen, and it acts absolute maximum value. I can't thank you enough.
You guys.
I can't thank you enough.
Thank you guys.
It's brilliant having you on, Sam. Something different, and I think a lot of people have got a lot out of this. How long we've been on for, 50 minutes or more. So I guess if people want to get in touch with you and find a little bit more about what you do, where can they get in touch with you?
Probably the best place is just DM me on socials, Instagram or Facebook or Messenger, whatever we call it these days. Just send me a DM and we'll chat.
Just put your details in the chat here. So if anyone did want to have a chat to the man, I can talk from personal experience. The man, this is a pinch myself moment. This, having Frank here, having Sam here, both of us look at you as an idol. Both of us look at you as, a magician with your words and just a genuine human being. But as our coach, this for me is, really powerful. Have you on? It's, I can't talk highly enough of you. If anyone ever did want to go down the route of using Sam as a coach, just do it, because it'll change your life in every aspect.
You guys are very kind. Thank you guys so much. And I love, I'm not kind of at that point of, investing in property and stuff yet, but I love watching what you guys are doing here. We've talked about this before, but I just love that you are stepping into your power and you're influencing this space. I think it's amazing.
For sure.
You guys are great.
I love you, brother. Be safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
See you later,
Thanks
again.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye. You too.
Thank
Bye.
you, brother.